Just imagine for a moment that everything is out of your control. The work you spent years on disappears in a matter of seconds. The friend you counted on suddenly leaves, and the only thing you have left is a faint voice in your mind telling you to keep going. Right at that moment, somewhere between failure and giving up, a spark of inner strength ignites within you, a strength that doesn't come from luck or success, but from recognizing that silent part of you that's always been there, but you've never called upon. Hello, I'm Radin, and this is Peak Peace Channel. Today, we want to talk about the inner strength of humans. In psychology, there is a moment called cognitive collapse, which means when the brain can no longer resist the pressure. When the mind collapses, the masks also fall away, and that's when, for the first time, we see our true self. Humans only begin to understand when they experience pain, like a muscle that never grows without tearing. Our brain is the same way. When it breaks from within, it's actually rebuilding new neural pathways for adaptation. According to Stanford University research in 2019, people who had experienced more severe failures performed up to 3 times better in resilience tests when it came to decision making. Inner strength is that very moment when you realize pain is not your enemy, but your teacher. We always think being strong means being emotionless, but modern psychology says that accepting vulnerability is the highest form of courage. When you deny, the brain goes into a defensive state, but when you accept, the nervous system begins to heal. This is what is called the acceptance loop in CBT therapy. Acceptance, letting go, calmness, mental clarity, and right decision making. One day, a patient at the USLA Clinical Clinic said, "When I realized I didn't have to be strong, that's when I actually became strong." That moment is the birth of inner strength. Have you ever asked yourself why you can't accept your weaknesses? Share your experience in the comments. Maybe by talking about it, you'll free a part of it. Inside every person, 2 voices live. One is the voice of doubt, which feeds on fear and painful memories, and the other is the voice of faith, which comes from experience and wisdom. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, the conflict between desire and fear. The moment you decide to follow the voice of faith instead of the voice of fear, a new neural pathway forms in your brain. In that very moment, your powerful inner self is activated. Viktor Frankl, the Austrian novelist who survived the death camps, wrote in his book Man's Search for Meaning that anyone who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. Pain without meaning is destructive, but when you give it meaning, that same pain can change the direction of your life. When the brain is searching for meaning, it releases dopamine, which creates a sense of progress, making pain more bearable. In an experiment, 2 groups of runners were given similar training. One group with the goal of getting fit, the other with the goal of overcoming mental limitations. The second group was able to continue up to 40% longer because their brains had found meaning. Inner strength, like the nervous system, can be trained. It has 4 main pillars: self-awareness, recognizing mental states without judgment, self-regulation, the ability to control emotions without suppressing feelings, purpose, having a personal meaning for your efforts, coming back from a crisis with greater understanding, not just survival. If you strengthen these 4 pillars, failure won't break you anymore. It will only change your form. Of course, if your foundation isn't strong, none of the pillars will work at all. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that people who practice breathing exercises and mindfulness have increased gray matter in the decision-making part of their brains. This means that even with just a few minutes of daily focus, the structure of the brain changes. Inner strength isn't just a philosophical concept, it's a biological reality in the brain. Conscious breathing, walking without your phone, or writing down your feelings all help build neural pathways for calmness. And every time you do this, your mind reminds itself, I am in control. Mental strength without daily discipline is just an idea. Discipline means linking feelings to action. 3 simple habits drawn from behavioral psychology research. Mini habits, starting small, like just 1 minute of meditation a day. Repeating the phrase, I am a calm person, until your brain identifies with it. And rewarding the right behaviors with a sense of satisfaction. As James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. By the way, I have 2 videos about atomic habits. I recommend you watch them. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is nothing at all. Silence is the point of connection between the conscious and unconscious mind. In moments of silence, the brain starts organizing data and healing emotions. Psychologists call this stage reflecting processing. In this phase, the brain removes painful information from active memory and archives it in long-term memory, so it no longer interferes with your everyday thoughts. Inner strength doesn't start with hope, it starts with faith. Hope says, maybe things will get better. Faith says, I will make things better. When your brain believes it can rebuild itself, the reward system is activated and new learning pathways open up. That's why people who have faith in growth are less vulnerable to ongoing stress. What do you think? Is inner strength about belief or action? Write your answer in the comments, because this very question could be the start of your growth. Your powerful self is the one who becomes calmer in a crisis, thinks more deeply in doubt, and finds meaning in silence. This self is not a destination, it's a process. Every time you choose patience over anger, every time you choose action over fear, you are building that version of yourself you've always been searching for. Growth psychology says that when a person feels agency, that is, a sense of control over their choices, the brain reduces anxiety levels by up to 50%. Inner strength is that same sense of control, not over the world but over your own reactions. Inner strength is like a muscle. You strengthen it every day with small decisions. Every time you get back up after a failure, you make it stronger. And with every conscious choice, you rebuild it. One day, you'll look back and realize that the hardest days of your life were actually the days that built your inner strength. So don't forget, you were never weak. You were just taking shape. If this video helped you, be sure to like it and share it with someone who needs it. I'm Radin, and this is the Peak Peace channel. I'm really glad you stayed with us until the end. Until the next video, stay true and strong. Goodbye.